Mm, mm, mm. Daniel Adami, what's going on, brother? Kaislin, what's up, man? We're gonna get real steamy up in this motherfucker today. Oh Lord. This is gonna be one of those conversations that the week of those of us with weak hearts and weak minds probably shouldn't be around for. Gear grab, what's going on, Nittany, man? I have been hustling real good. Pale Rider, what's going on, brother? Long time no see, man. So yeah, I've been MIA, man. I've just been hustling it, and I lost interest in YouTube, man. I kept, there was the whole bot situation, that made me lose all of my subscribers, and now YouTube's changed their algorithms, and I got to go through my asshole to get to my elbow to do live streams. It's just not worth it, man. Jonathan Wheeler, what's going on, brother? So yeah, today is going to be as the title says, not safe for work. I'm going to be discussing a lot of shit. I want to be discussing the most taboo subjects of American society. So I've done a video on it before, and nobody like. Look, I got a shit ton of messages from that video, and a lot of people loved it. They ate it up. They went, in fact, some of them fact checked what I said, and showed their friends and showed their families, showed their wives, and quite a few people learned a lot from that video, is all I'm trying to say. So let's get right into it. Let's just do this. Let's get controversial. So I was watching I was scrolling through Facebook, see this article, and it's a black kid. He's a 12-year-old mowing grass for money. He's gonna pay for his own college, which don't make sense to me because black people in America are pretty fucking privileged. I mean, they have government scholarships and grants that are exclusively for minorities. They have affirmative action. We got proof of colleges lowering standards for black children or for black students. There was I think it was like New York or Chicago or something. They had a fireman's exam, right? So you have to take this exam to become a fireman. You have to take an entrance exam to make sure you're qualified. The district in which they did this was all black almost. It was like 80% black. And the majority of people who passed the test were white. So the guy who approved the test originally, the mayor, whoever he was, whatever position of power this guy was in, basically said that that's racism, that has to go. So now whatever district this is in, now have underqualified firefighters, black firefighters and Hispanic firefighters, simply because racism, right? So I hope you don't live in that district, because if your shit starts to burn up, Jerome may not know what the fuck he's doing. But anyways, I saw this article, this black kid mowing grass, saving up for college. And I'm thinking, man, how the fuck is this newsworthy? How is this newsworthy? Because when I was growing up, which was just, I mean, from this dude only 20-something years ago, not even, I was mowing grass for free. I had to. And then on the summers, I mowed grass again for money and did yard work for money and busted my ass for money, me and my cousins both. So I'm not seeing how this is exactly newsworthy. And I know plenty of people whose children are teenagers and they work full-time jobs. It makes you think, why is this newsworthy? Because I've been seeing a lot. Black kid opens up a hot dog stand. Black kid opens up a lemonade stand. Buying his mama a car, whatever. And I'm questioning. I'm like, why is this newsworthy? When I know for a fact that white kids are doing this. There are Hispanic kids that are doing this. There are Asian kids who are doing this exact same fucking thing. Why is it newsworthy when a black child does it? Why is it newsworthy? Toss, what's going on, brother? Big John. It's a little controversial here. If you got weak constitution, weak heart, weak mind, you might want to bounce. A lot of people aren't going to like this video. I don't really give a shit because if you're on my Facebook, you already know because I don't hold back. It's just that simple. But when you start to wonder that, you go down the list, right? So is it racism? Is it racism? Like, is this white dude who reported on this, Joshua Benson is the news report I saw it from, is he racist? Or have American citizens of all races come to expect such low standards or low efforts from Black Americans? Because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, this isn't newsworthy. It just fucking isn't. We see it nonstop. We see it all the time. One Avalanche, what's going on, brother? We see it all the time. I'm telling you, man, it's gotten crazy. I'm very deep into it. I'm very deep into, I guess, particular cultures, and I'm seeing like Black people talking about they're going to do a march. Antifa is going to collaborate with them, and they're basically marching against white people. They don't like whiteness, which is fucking crazy to me because from where I'm sitting and from the statistics that I'm fucking looking at, without the very people they're marching against, their fucking existence may be very terrible. TJ, what's going on, brother? So it's like, don't bite the hand that feeds you. That's the way I feel about it. Some may disagree. Anybody can feel any way they want to. I'm doing well, man. Surviving. That's it, right? That's another thing I wanted to put. So before I get any further in this video, to all those who doubted me, I'm still here, motherfucker. I'm still on the spot market. I'm still making good cash. Fuck you. I know so many motherfuckers that have fallen off. They couldn't hang. Oh, got family problems. Oh, man, this just ain't for me. Move that shit along, loser. So, anyways, I try to rationalize this stuff, and I try not to think about this shit from a biased perspective. I truly try to take a step back. Like, why though? Why is it that this is newsworthy? Why is this Black child mowing lawns newsworthy? I don't understand it because I know it happens all the time, right? So and that's the only thing I could come up with. We either the racism is truly a big fucking deal, which I don't believe it is. I don't believe racism even exists, to be honest with you. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that out there. I don't believe racism is actually a thing. I mean, what we see nowadays that gets called racism, I believe it's natural tendencies. There's a statistic out there, and I got it somewhere on my phone, so I could post it later for those who may be interested. There's a statistic out there that shows something like 80% of churches in the United States, over 80% of churches are over 90% one race. So when given the option, when the government doesn't get involved, we segregate. We don't want to be around each other. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. But the government continues to push this fucking narrative that it's white supremacy and white racism, but we see it from both sides. We saw like Black teenagers in Chicago kidnap a white man and torture him. I mean, if you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist. It doesn't even fucking matter what color you are. It's just like down the line racism. What we're seeing right now, folks, and I believe it to be true, we're seeing a push to demonize whiteness, whatever that may be, and to take away your guns, because there again, every time haven't you guys noticed that every time the media comes out with this mass shooting, it's always some fucking white kid, which, by the way, like, all but one of them were raised by single mothers. Daddies, if you're going to fuck it, stay in the damn kid's life. Don't be an asshole. But anyways, Yeah, so like 23 of the 24 the deadliest mass shooters we've had in this country have all been raised with no father. They've been raised by single mothers. Men cannot be raised by women. Just can't. I'm sorry. A man shows another man, especially a father showing a child, how to channel that aggression and how to deal with that kind of aggression, because men have it. I believe that men are innately violent. We are. It's just in our fucking genes, because all throughout history, up until here recently, we've always had to fight for every single fucking thing we've ever had. Now we live like in the Roman days, where we got a big great civilization, and we can afford to fucking be decadent. We can have queer or we can have LGBTQIA plus 212s out here shaking their asses in front of children, wearing thongs, throwing dollar bills at children, which, by the way, they're 11 times more likely to be pedophiles than straight people, by the way, just letting you know that. uh it's the degradation. The societal degradation is absolutely ungodly, folks. I mean, if you really, I know a lot of people don't want to pay attention to it. Call politics, fucking, it's a, but dude, this shit affects you. This shit will affect your children and your grandchildren and your children's children's children. It will affect everybody in your fucking line. It'll affect your neighbor and their children. This is shit that's important. To not follow it is downright disgraceful. It gets to you. It pisses you off. But that fire helps you to go out there and make a difference, to speak out against it, to push the idea that what they're saying is not fucking right, and it's not legitimate, and it's disgusting. Okay, they're trying actively. The far left, the underground, so far right now, is trying to normalize pedophilia. Like, legit, they've had conferences on the shit, TED Talks, talking about, instead of demonizing and institutionalizing pedophiles, we should let them view child pornography that we already have on file, of course. But we should let them view child pornography to get it out of their system. I don't think that that's what they want to do. I think these fucking perverts want to fuck a child. I don't know that it's just simply jacking their damn dick to a child's fucking damn nasty videos. These motherfuckers want to fuck children, and we can't normalize that. We can't allow that to happen. We also have an influx. I mean, folks, a massive amount of motherfucking Africans coming to this country, and they're not coming peace-loving Christians, okay? They're not coming as what you're probably told that they are, because we could see examples of it all over the country. They're coming with their faith. They are organizing in communities, just like they did in Minneapolis. For those of you who don't know, Ilhan Omar, the anti-American Muslim from Somalia, was elected by Minnesotans, whatever, in Minneapolis. They form their communities. They vote for one another. They run for office. They help each other out. They've got communities. That's something that whites don't have, that a lot of Hispanics don't have, that even black people don't have. Nobody has the sense of community, or black Americans, that these Africans coming over have. And we can see the effects of that just right down the line. I mean, for those of you who don't know, this was actually reported on by Fox News, ABC. The Somalis over there in Minneapolis actually were caught not embezzling, I guess technically stealing over $100 million from the government using a babysitting scam. So what they do is they tell the government that they've opened up a babysitting service, and the government sends them money, and all they're doing is raising Muhammad Akbar's child right down the fucking road. While Muhammad goes to work or does whatever, they're getting money from the government. It's suspected. Fox News wrote about it, and like I said, ABC knew about it. I think NBC wrote about it. They suspect that these fucking people sent over $100 million of American taxpayer money to Somalia to fund Somali terrorists. Isn't that fantastic, folks? Your money is going to fucking Africa to support terrorists. Nice. A lot of crazy shit, man. A lot of fucking crazy shit. For example, I actually watched a video of a woman who was helping refugees. Now, for those of you who don't know, he said I'm triggered. Aren't we all, man? I tell you, because I see this shit and it frightens the fuck out of me, man. I'm not gonna lie, like it really makes you stop and think and question everything. Like, man, well, how far does this go and how deep does this go? So this woman was a volunteer for refugees. And for those of you who don't know, whenever a refugee is accepted into your country, the UN now has legal rights to put boots on your ground. With refugees comes the UN. They got to make sure they're being treated appropriately. That gives the UN excuse to come into your country. We've seen UN ground vehicles in St. Louis. I've seen them personally. So they're out there. They exist. It's not some conspiracy theory. I mean, these UN soldiers exist, and Obama fucks on that, because if the UN, if they declare martial law, the UN could come in and shut down your constitutional rights and take your guns. They can restrict your house. They can basically put you in quarantine. They can fucking seal you off from society if they want to. Pretty crazy shit. So this lady was a volunteer for the refugees. Automatic assault weapons of war. It may, man. I don't really, I don't feel like any of you guys are stupid enough that I have to touch on that. I don't think that you guys are stupid enough to have to touch on anything. I think a lot of people are unaware of what the fuck's going on. In fact, the 5 or 6 people who messaged me about my last video on race and society and religions, they were fucking flabbergasted. They didn't know half the shit was going on. They didn't know these statistics. They didn't know these historical facts. Like, slavery, for example, like, it wasn't what they say it was. We got proof of it. But anyways, there again, we need to whitewash it. Keep white man guilty, Nazis, even though it was far worse than like Russia and China. Like what Hitler did to the Jewish people was like a blip on the radar compared to other, communists and dictatorships, but that's irrelevant. I don't want anybody to accuse me of Nazism. So anyways, this volunteer she was a volunteer in St. Louis, actually, Missouri. And she was basically saying that they're going to pick these people up from the airports. They'd have diseases. They weren't properly checked in with customs. They were instructed on how to lie to the government in order to get money. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me put it to you this way. These people are getting the shit that you've paid in for your entire life as soon as they cross the fucking border. As soon as they're into this country, from Africa, from fucking the Middle East, Syria, there's a lot of Syrians, a lot of fucking Somalis, and a lot of Nigerians, Congolese, major Africa, Northern Africa, the Middle East, all that area, they're pouring them in. When they come in as refugees, they're taught by NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations. There's a lot of them in the Catholic Church. There's a lot of Jewish religious affiliates that are these NGOs that help these people. They're also helping them try to smuggle them into like Italy and shit as well. There was a documentary on that actually, and the lady was forced out of politics because she uncovered all that shit. But so yeah, when these people step off the plane, they're getting SSI, long-term disability. They're getting cash stipends to help them. They're getting transportation. They're getting housing. It's outrageous. I fact checked this again. I went to North Carolina, and it shows all these things that we have set up for refugees. They're coming over here. They're getting our tax dollars. And then they end up promoting themselves or using their community power to boost themselves up in positions like Ilhan Omar, where now they're making over $100,000 a year, and they started off on our tax dollars. And to me, that pisses me the fuck off. It pisses me the fuck off because the way it was for me is I was born, and hey, you're alive, buddy. You're in America, so that's it. Like, that was it. That's all the promise is. Like, you were born in America. You've got it lucky already. That's your privilege right there. You were born in America. Okay, I can see that. But these people are coming in over here fucking with Ebola. Fucking Ebola? HIV, which is rampant in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. Like, I mean, dude, Ghana or Congo, Ghana, one of them motherfuckers make up like 70% of the world's HIV cases. It's outrageous. Same in America. Black men, HIV fucking rampant. These people are coming into our country with these fucking diseases, getting shit that we've paid for our entire lives. How the fuck is that fair? How is that right? I don't give a fuck what they come from. I mean, there's still people in Appalachia right now that would have no fucking running water or running or working electricity. Why the fuck do I give a shit about some fucking African? I don't. I simply don't. I don't give a fuck about these people. They could stay the fuck over there. And look, all I know is when I saw a picture of people who look like Ilhan Omar with the same religious beliefs and all that shit, when I see people like that dragging our soldiers that they killed behind fucking trucks through the town like goddamn dogs, fuck them. Make no mistake, people. If you're a Christian, if you're an American, or even if you're an unaffiliated atheist or an agnostic person in America, I want you to know that the Muslims, they are your fucking enemies. You think I'm kidding with you? They are your fucking enemies. I'm not even a Christian. But if it ever came to the point where we had to do a Crusades Part 2, I'm going to don that fucking cross, amen, and I'm going to fuck some shit up. It's just that simple. These people they don't need to be here. They don't need to be here. This is a nation that was founded on Christian principles and Christian values with a government that's supposed to be unaffiliated. That's the way it was meant to be. That's what Jefferson talked about. That's what the founding fathers talked about. That's the way America was supposed to be. It was intended to be that way. Their ideals, for those of you who don't know, Islam is an all-consuming religion. Islam determines your societal, the way your society shaped, your culture, your politics. Islam is a very all-encompassing religion. It dictates everything. That's not the way our society was formed. Right? The basics. You don't kill. You don't steal. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit. Those are Christian tenets. But that's not Muslim. That's not Islam. They're told they can lie. They can cheat if it helps them further their religion. They're given permission by their religious doctrine. It's their tenet to do that. To lie, to cheat, to steal, to kill, if necessary, in order to promote and turn the whole world Muslim. I don't get down with that. They don't fit into our society. We can look at what's happening in Europe. We see it in Spain. We see it all over the place. Everywhere that they're allowed into Christian societies. Because, again, most of the West was created with Christian values. And they're destroying it. Sweden, they're about to see themselves, because the true Swedes, the white Swedes, they're about to see themselves become a minority in just a few years. They've got rape like crazy. Their rape percentage went up like 3,000% or some shit. It was an astronomical number. The rape went through the roof. Their murders. I mean, they got police officers over there having grenades thrown at them by these African extremists, these Islam extremists. That's not to say, now, folks, I don't want anybody to say I'm generalizing, but I will say that I'm not a fan of Islam at all. I don't think that any Muslim should be here, whether they're peaceful or not, but that's just my opinion. And I'm not trying to generalize anybody by race or any of that shit, but averages are averages, folks. It's just that simple. When I tell you that the average sub-Saharan African IQ is 85, it's an average. It doesn't mean that every black person you see in America, because most of them come from sub-Saharan Africa, that they got an 85 IQ. That's not what that means at all. But if you take a line of black Americans or Africans from sub-Saharan, from sub-Saharan region, you're going to see that the average IQ amongst them is 85. So I think that we need to start having real discussions in America. Look at right now, right? We had a gunman go into a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, and shoot it the fuck up, right? He killed 20 innocent people, over 20 innocent people. For what? Why? Why did this person, and as the mainstream media likes to point out, separation of church state is widely overused in the incorrect way. They never read the full passage in his letter. In fact, we were supposed to live okay. Yeah, absolutely, we were, man. I mean, it don't make sense. And I'm not even a Christian. I haven't been a Christian for years, for almost 10 years, actually. But I still know that America was founded on the Christian faith and that Christianity It's helped what build the greatest civilization that the world has ever fucking known. Ever. There's no countries that come close to the European countries or America. We started the fucking the revolution, the industrial revolution, or the industrial age or whatever. What was that shit called? The Age of Enlightenment or whatever. We created some of the greatest fucking things in the world, and it was under that belief. It was under the Christian belief. It was under the Christian dogma for the most part. So yeah, I believe that America 100% should stay a Christian nation. And here's the way I see it. We've started flying gay flags, gay pride flags on U.S. government property. So let's start bringing back the Bible, right? Let's start teaching our kids values. Because right now what we're seeing single motherhood rates go through the fucking roof. And it's not only affecting minorities anymore, it's spilling over into the white community. And let me tell you, folks, like I said, I don't give a shit who likes it or not. But if you live in America, the day that white people are gone, you're fucked. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. On average, white people and Asian people are the only groups that are a net positive on society. Now, again, that's not to say there aren't black people out there who are working their asses off and making money and marrying and having kids, doing the shit the right way. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is when you look at the groups as a whole, all encompassing, every member of the group, blacks or whites and Asians are the only people that actually provide to society. Any other race in this country is a net loss, which means they take as a group more than they contribute. So again, a society without white people, you're fucked. We pay the fucking bills. We keep the lights on. Why do you think they're important, all these motherfuckers? It was in the UN. For those of you who asked me on Facebook, I actually posted a screenshot from the UN, the United Nations, as well as a memorandum from the European Union, the official EU and UN. I posted screenshots that talked about how the white population of Europe and North America are dwindling. White people are not reproducing at the rates they need to be, and the baby boomer generation is dying off. So literally within, I think it was 10 years or so, they're expecting a major decline in white population throughout the world. A major decline, right? And they need people, unless they're willing to reduce the size of government, they're going to need more people to continue to pay the tax into the taxes and maintain their welfare system, as the EU so put it. They literally put, they want to save their welfare state. So they're importing all these people, and the problem with this is half of them aren't doing shit. Half of them are scamming the government and taking more money. They're also getting the food stamps and the shit the legal way, and then they're doing scams and taking it the fucking illegal way. So a portion of these people that they're pulling into America are beneficial to America. That's what they're failing to understand. They're just bringing in bodies, though. Just like conservatives, Republicans, it was a bipartisanship effort to increase the number of visas for India, so that these motherfuckers could come over here and take middle America jobs, IT jobs, coding and all that shit from Americans. And then we have illegal immigrants in the country because they just arrested 600 or 700 of them in Mississippi at a chicken processing plant that are taking low-wage jobs that are almost always filled by black people. So we have Indians coming in and taking over for the whites, and we have Hispanics coming in and taking over for the blacks. It's essentially the way it's working out. Because this happened in the house of Rayford in South Carolina. ICE raided the fucking shit out of them. And their sister company in North Carolina, I believe it was, they fired every single one of their Latino fucking employees. They fired them. They laid them the fuck off, and they hired all black. They hired all black people in that motherfucker. It's just the way it's going, man. I mean, they're going to get the cheapest fucking labor possible. Let's face it. I know Mexicans, Hispanic, they have fucking work ethics like you wouldn't believe. They work like a goddamn mule. And these companies know that, right? So they'll bring in one Hispanic and save money and have a motherfucker who's out there going to work weekends, going to work 12-hour shifts, and they'll gladly accept $8 an hour. It's just, that's the way it's going, man. I mean, it's blatant. It's in our face, you know. There was a Democrat congressman who wrote a book on how to destroy America from within, and it's 7 steps. It's the playbook. Well, dude, we can look all throughout European history, and every civilization that has ever suffered, advanced civilization that we've created, whether it be the Greeks, whether it be the Germans, they've fallen, and it's just like what we're facing today, man. I mean, Rome, for example, they started importing a lot of fucking people, started letting anybody come across their borders. They gay shit, bi shit, lesbian shit, tranny shit. We got proof of all this shit. It's all greatly recorded. They started to slip. They became greedy. The fucking Roman Empire fell. They fought and survived wars and built the greatest civilization to that point ever, maybe except for the Egyptians, which Black Americans love to take credit for. but for those of you who ever have to face that argument, let me tell you that 99.99% of Black Americans come from Sub-Saharan Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa ain't done a fucking thing for the world. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. But yeah, so other than the occasional, you know, Egyptian, they pretty much created like math and shit, like for real. That's legit. How to tell time, Egyptians, well beyond their time, smart motherfuckers, advanced as you could be. And then you had the Mayans, advanced civilization, advanced Hispanic civilization. So everybody's done something except for the fucking Sub-Saharans. I fucking know, but I'm not going to go there. I don't want to seem biased, but yeah. So these we see these signs all the time. I mean, we see the fall of America. We're normalizing gay people and transgender people going into libraries and reading to our children. They're trying to fight so that they can use the bathroom. And now there's a tranny in Canada who is suing a Asian-owned, which is such a cliche, but it's an Asian-owned manicure waxing place. This is a transgender person, a man dressing as a woman, who is now suing the beautician, the entire establishment, because they refuse to wax his very male balls. Like, these women said, no, you're a dude. I'm not waxing your nuts, bro. And this fucking dude, Jewish tranny, said, well, I'm going to fucking sue you. And he sued them and closed them down because Canada has hate speech laws. And they lost because they refused to wax a male's genitals. These women, real women with vaginas from God or whomever, refused to wax a man's balls, and they lost their livelihood. They lost their entire business because of that. And this very same dude, because we ain't fucking Canada, this very same dude also petitioned the local government, which is actually right above Washington, this town. I forget, that's Langley Falls or something, British Columbia. It's right above the line. He petitioned the local government to throw a 12-year-old and older topless pool party. And in this proposal, he said that there were no parents allowed because he wanted to create a safe and inclusive environment. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me, man? Like, you want me to drop off my kid that is true. It is skewed, and because that, I don't know why they do that, but you're absolutely right. They do that, and I've got like a shit ton of screenshots from arrest records of people who are very clearly not white, who are very clearly not white, being labeled as white after they've murdered somebody or raped somebody. So yeah, there's probably some overinflation there. But the thing with that is like, because Hispanics and whites aren't very far apart, so there probably is some, you know, there's probably a skew. But the distance between Hispanics and blacks and whites and blacks, even if it's skewed 2%, 3%, it's still telling. You know what I'm saying? It's bad. It's real bad. Like, real bad. it's bad, man. Like, truly and honestly. But yeah, you are right, man, because they do put white on a lot of other races. Like, I don't know, man. That I don't think that's right. It seems wrong to me because then we're overrepresented in things where we shouldn't be, or underrepresented in things where we should or maybe shouldn't be. I mean, but we're not represented accurately, and I don't like that. But because you can't have a. There are some statistics that, like the population, for example, they don't mind including white only. You know, basically you have to be of European descent to get put on that list. But there again for crime, and yeah, like you said, the military. It's I think they the way they determined the net positive was military spending. The way that works with the military, I don't know how the fuck the equation worked. I'm not that smart. Like all I did was follow this dude's math. The math checked out based on the way he laid it out, and I was like, okay, well that makes sense then. And I've seen it a few other times. And like you said, yeah, they skewed because they do list whites. I've seen dudes from fucking the Middle East on there listed as whites. That was actually like these dudes were darker than night themselves, like, but they were listed as white on there, and that made no sense to me. Like, but there again, they probably don't want to list them as being black or whatever because then it would really start to show some the fucking problem in the country. Anyways, yeah, I mean, there the conspiracy is it's called the Great Replacement, and which is basically that white people are being replaced. And at first, it sounds nonsensical, right? Because it does. It just sounds stupid. Like, why would they want to replace white people? What would be the point of that? And then you start to look at these numbers, and you start to look at the habits of Congress, and your other European countries, you know, the white countries, and then you start to look at the past, and it starts to add up. Like you start seeing these little dots, and you start to fucking form them, right? Like it wasn't even what 89, what 20, 30 years ago that this country was 80 to 90% white. We're teetering on 60% right now. In 20 or 30 years, we're teetering at 60 fucking percent. Then you look at Europe, and it's the same situation in a lot of European countries. And then that whole Great Replacement conspiracy doesn't seem to be too conspiratorial, really, at all. And then the fucking UN puts out shit like they put out, and the EU talking about how white people are dying off and we need money, so we got to bring in motherfuckers to work. Then it removes all doubt right there. I mean, we're being replaced, and it's a fucking shitty feeling, because I would rather have a small government and it be a peaceful, productive society like Poland, for example, who refuses to take Africans, who refuses to take Muslims. They refuse to take any refugee who isn't white. They're prosperous. They're peaceful. I mean, they don't have the best economy, but they're happy being themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're happy with a peaceful nation. They don't have the violence that we have. And then when you look at America and you look at these towns, like, for example, where this company's based out of, which is in northern Minnesota, I mean, like 80 miles from the Canadian border, it is 90% white. My sister can leave her fucking door unlocked at nighttime, or their garage door with a motorcycle, a boat, and a car with keys in the fucking ignition and not have to worry. I haven't been able to do that in the South since the fucking 80s. Again, when whites were the majority. We haven't been able to do that since like the 80s and 90s in the South. They still do it up there. In fact, they imported now up into northern Minnesota. They imported black students who could have made the grade NFL. They imported blacks from the South. They could have made the NFL, but were suspended or whatever due to behavioral issues. Right? They brought them up. I mean, handed them fucking cash money. They were giving them stipends. They were putting them up in apartments and shit, or on the campus if they, but they shut that shit down within a year because when they brought them up, rates went up, murders went up. And the final straw was when a young black teenager broke into a 50-year-old woman's house, raped her, and murdered her. Never seen that shit before, these people. They had never dealt with that. They had never experienced anything like that up there until they started bringing in the black Southerners. And they said that was done. They canceled it. They sent them the fuck back. Now, when you look at these places that are homogenous like that, that are a majority of one race, especially white race, things a little bit different. You don't have the gun violence. Look at Vermont, for example. Over 90% white, some of the loosest gun laws in the country. They have no fucking violence. They have no fucking murders. I think in like 10 years, they've had like 10 fucking murders. In 10 fucking years, it's like a murder a year. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't exist up there. They got the drugs, of course, which they're probably funneling in from the goddamn, hoods and shit. But I don't know, man, or making the meth because, but these motherfuckers, these guys got heroin and pills and shit, which is sad in and of itself. But they sit here when all this shit happens like they do on the mainstream media. What's the first thing they say? White supremacy! White supremacy! It's the fucking Nazis! It's fucking Hitler returned from the dead! Maybe. I don't know if Hitler's dead, but anyways. But that's the narrative, isn't it? Even though for 2019, I've read two different numbers. I've read 51% and I've read somewhere close to 75% of all mass shooters were black. Oh, my bad. My bad, Juan. Juan said that. Well, if you want to post that again, Juan, my bad. I accidentally hit delete. But I agree with you, Juan. Absolutely, man. The white people have cooked over and have allowed people to run all over us, and all anybody has to do is say that R word, and it's fucking done. It doesn't matter if it's our Second Amendment right. It doesn't matter if it's our First Amendment right. As soon as somebody says racism, it's fucking the white people on their fucking knees ready to goddamn blow somebody. And it's disgusting. It's fucking pathetic. To see my people who let's face it, have destroyed civilizations and rebuilt them up. And conquered civilizations and made something great from nothing. It breaks my fucking heart to know my history and to know what my ancestors have done for this land. The blood that they spilt for this land, the lives that were lost, both white, black, and brown, for this land, and to see white people fucking cut down like that. You guys there? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, man. I don't know if this is any better. I don't know if it sound back, guys. Motherfucker. They scared the fuck out of me, man. I don't know if the sound's back, but yeah, guys, it does. It fucking destroys me. It tears at every fucking fiber in my being to see white people cut down. And it kills me, man. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about this. How many white people do you know right here saying the shit that I'm fucking saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see it very often. And if they do, they're like on the internet, they're curmudgeons. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's out here saying this fucking shit. So I guess where I'm going to end this is this. I'm going to say this. This is my final thought. I used to do that shit, you remember? So my final thought for this video is segregation. I'm 100% for peaceful segregation. The first step is to stop immigration. The second step is to sit back anybody who's illegal or who is not contributing to this country and this economy, and then we come to some solution on segregation. It'd be voluntary, and there will be states that would be designated as common ground. So, for example, North Carolina's white, South Carolina's common, and Georgia's black. And Tennessee is common, and whatever state after Tennessee is Hispanic. Whatever, however we want to do it. But it shouldn't be, when we see the crime and we see what diversity does, we have statistics. Diversity is a fucking nightmare that creates, one, less charitable people. So in diverse communities, they're less charitable. They tend to vote less, and they trust their neighbors less. And they also tend to go to churches that represent where they're the majority, where their skin color is represented as the majority. So we know diversity is bunk. Let's face it, people want to be around people like them, right? Who are similar to themselves. This is what I want for myself and my children and my children's children. I don't want to have to worry about my child going into a fucking store and seeing some black woman yell at her son and calling her 5-year-old son a little bitch for crying and slapping him upside the back of the head. I don't want my kid to have to endure that, to have to see that kind of nonsense and wonder, well, holy shit, or something to that nature. I don't want that. I would prefer to be in my own community with my own people, where I could go to the store and not have to worry about the unwanted embrace of other people. And I think that if we got aside, if we step aside from all this PC bullshit and stop bullshitting with each other, I think that we would all agree that the best thing for all of us would just be go our separate fucking ways. Because as somebody who grew up in the projects where everybody was fucking black and I was the only white person, I can tell you unequivocally that we are fucking different. It isn't anything to do with the environment because I was in it too. It isn't nothing to do with single mothers because I had one too. It isn't nothing to do with poverty because I was poor as fuck too. It is genetic. It is based in your fucking genes. There are differences. And they're differences that make living together a fucking nightmare. A miserable fucking nightmare. And I think the best thing for everybody would be to peacefully, because I do not advocate violence at all. But the best solution for everybody, I believe, would be to go their own separate ways. Just do. We see it time and time again where homogenous communities. Look at West Baltimore, man. I just posted this on fucking Facebook. Look at Western Baltimore, right? It's 85% black, has been for decades, right? So they're the controlling majority in that community and that entire region there of Baltimore, which means they're electing the officials for that district, right? They're electing officials for that town. So they're electing black politicians, right? Black police chiefs, black judges. We look at this shit. They have been living in their own filth and excrement for 30 fucking years. They've been living with trash on the literal fucking streets for years, decades. And it isn't until President Trump comes in and says, look at how disgraceful this district is ran by a black politician who's somehow managed to fucking lose billions of dollars. Because, I mean, they're not getting it over there. Their schools don't even have fucking heat, So the billions are definitely not going to the fucking schools or the infrastructure or the people. It's going somewhere, though. But anyways, despite the fact that this is an 80-something% black community, that the majority of politicians that represent these people in that region are black, is that better? I think it's my hand, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's my hand covering up the mic a little bit. But this community that's majority black politicians and all this, they've lived in their own filth for fucking decades. And it takes, from what I saw, because I follow them on Twitter, they're called the Persistence, for anybody who wants to look them up. From what I'm seeing, it's 90% white conservatives out there cleaning up the streets of West Baltimore, while blacks have lived there for 30 years and done fuck all, nothing. Not lifted a finger. They protested the government. They got involved in town halls and said somebody needs to take care of our problem, And it just, it didn't happen, of course. But I don't know, man. It just goes to show you, like, maybe that's the reason for the fucking article about a black kid mowing grass for college, even though he doesn't need to, because he walks in with his skin color, he's got a fucking scholarship. Um, it's expectations, right? I mean, you've lived in Baltimore for 30 years. You've elected politicians. You continue to elect the same politicians every fucking like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Yeah, your situation doesn't improve. You're voting in people. You're living here. Something should be different, right? You're living in your own trash, but you want other people. You want the government to do it for you. You don't want to lift a fucking finger. And it takes like a white teenager to get out there and start cleaning shit up to make things happen. And they've done it within a week or two. They cleaned up almost a lot. They cleaned up a lot of West Baltimore in a day or two, in a week or two. These motherfuckers been living here for decades. You couldn't rally around and say, I mean, you guys rally around for no gun violence because you shoot the shit. Baltimore's more unsafe than fucking Guatemala, for fuck's sake. Or how about, what is it? What's that town right across from El Paso, Juarez? It was like in a one year or something. They had like 12,000 or 1,200 fucking murders or some shit in that one town. You know what I'm saying? Like, these fucking it don't make sense to me, man. I'm trying to process it, and I don't want anybody to. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I don't understand. How are we not acknowledging this shit, man? How are we not acknowledging this? My hand's off the mic. I think it's just because. Can you hear me better now? Well, look, I'm gonna cup it like this. Maybe that'll help because my hands on the mic. I'm holding it right in the middle. Is this better? Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now? I'm gonna get off here anyways, guys. But that's all I wanted to say. Look, man, shit's not right. If you're interested in knowing more, find me on Facebook, Richard Church. Add me on Facebook, but just understand, I'm not politically correct. I will put it out there. I'm not kidding you. I will put it the fuck out there. So if you can't handle it, don't find me. But if you can, if you want to learn more, because I post a lot of shit, guys. When I'm not driving this motherfucker, I'm literally doing research on race, on societal issues, on communities. I'm following politicians on Twitter. I'm doing it all. I want to know what the fuck's going on in my country. So if you want to, find me on Facebook. If you got Snorlord, you can find me through Snorlord. I'm a friend of Snorlord's on there. Add me.